to only have 5 people here. Zola, hi. Thank you for coming.
No problem.
Great. In case you're wondering, Zola, I guess I'm probably going to introduce these people eventually, but so Mirriam, Mwenya, Elizabeth, they form, Mulenga is missing again. They form one of 2 groups that I'm going to be working with this year. They're final year students. So what they're going to be working towards is similar to your typical undergraduate, your typical honors project at UCT, because what these guys are pursuing is actually a 4-year program. And then looking at the time, trying to buy time here because, and here comes Mulenga Chanda, right? Logging in outside of the University of Zambia. But, right. And then Kadeyo is a second-year master's student. I'm co-supervising Kadeyo. And then I'm expecting 2 more, no, 3 more. Mulenga, your microphone. Okay. So I'm expecting 3 more people, and I'm sorry, Zola, I know you're probably the only outsider who's going to attend here. I don't know, people are a bit apathetic when it comes to these talks. So we are going to again have to just wait briefly, maybe Dokowe just came in from outside as well. Just try and wait until all the students come through. In case people are wondering, I'm speaking to Zola. Zola is a very close friend, he's a colleague. He's finalizing his PhD at the University of Cape Town. We worked in the same lab, right? So in the process, I think we've become quite close. So I normally invite him when we have such events. And I thought it would be nice to have feedback coming in from, I guess, him, right? And then Dokowe just came in. So Dokowe is a first-year master's student. She's I think we've gotten to a stage where we're almost finalizing her proposal, although her co-supervisor, I'm supervising her, but she also has a co-supervisor who has to look at the work before we can finalize stuff. But the other thing, Zola, here is before you're probably going to be surprised. So the vast majority of people I work with, students I interact with or work with, are doing information science-centric projects, right? With the exception of one person, and I don't know if he's going to come through, Robert. He's attached to the Department of Computer Science. So that's the only computer science student I'm working with this, well, for now at least, anyway. There's still people missing. I don't know if, I'm just going to mute my microphone to try and do something that I normally don't do. I will reach out to them via phone, right? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But meantime, I suppose people can gossip about the presidential address. I didn't listen to it myself, but I'm told it was given at some point anyway. I see Angela. I was sending you a WhatsApp message, Angela, to say we've started. It's 1703. Let me see if I can reach out to Robert then.
Hello. Hello, Dr. Piri.
We can hear you. We can all hear you, I think. Well, okay. At least I can hear you. So I don't know about the other.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for my late, for turning up late. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, but you're not the only one, I suppose. That's the only consolation.
Oh, okay.
All right, I hope people can hear me. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. I don't know if Robert is going to join us, but I sent him a message. I have no idea if Halwiindi's group is going to be joining us. They never sent through the title and didn't respond, so I don't know, but we're just going to have to proceed, I think. But before we start, what we've noticed is, well, for these other interactions we've had, is that sometimes you might maybe accidentally lose, is it connectivity or something, you get disconnected, and then if it's your turn to, where do I go here? If it's your turn to present, maybe you might just continue talking without knowing that you've actually been disconnected. We saw it happen when we had postgraduate PhD oral exams the other day, right? Just because people are connecting from different places. So with the exception of the honors students, I will post that link where you can just quickly join. So that will be Kadeyo and I was going to say Robert, but it's just Kadeyo, I think. Right. So if you can just join that group, in the event that you get disconnected, I'll just ping you to say, can you reconnect or something? But we'll just hope that this doesn't happen. I hope it runs smoothly. And it turns out that we might not really, so the schedule is as follows. We might not necessarily go all the way up to, is it 19 or something, because there are people missing. I know the second group here, which was supposed to present at 17:20. This is Halwiindi's group. I can't see them, so I'm guessing they're not going to show up. Kadeyo is not there, so that's almost what, 30 minutes? Is it 25 minutes gone or something? So it's probably going to be a very short interaction. But for those of you that, I also mentioned that in case you have friends and you want them to attend or something, feel free to share that link. We have capacity for 250 people. So just send them that link if you want, and then they can join in and just let them into the group if you want, into the meeting, I mean. Right, so the schedule is as follows. So we're gonna start off with group, we call it group C2K2, and I hope people can hear me here, but group C2K2, it's, I guess, abbreviations for the ladies' last names. We're going to transition to Halwiindi's group, but they're not here, so we'll immediately go to Angela, and then Kadeyo, and then Robert if he does join us, and then finally Dokowe. Oh, I'm sorry, Dokowe, it's Tembo. Okay. Right. I'm not going to waste time to introduce people here. I'm guessing as part of your starting slide or something, you tell us a little bit more about yourself and who's supervising you or something, so that people know who you are. Maybe also mention the program that you're pursuing or something. That will really help. Yeah, so in the event that people are wondering why we're doing this, what we've discovered is that so we tend to have people that work on topics that are related, right? And because we don't normally have regular meetings as a group, the thinking is that if we have this sort of interactions, then you can get to maybe offline, get to reach out to other people that you think are doing exciting things and try and bounce ideas off of each other. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this. The other reason we're doing this is to force you to think a little bit more about what you're doing, right? Sometimes when you're just working in isolation with your supervisors, you tend to drag a lot, right? People making promises, say, I will do this when it's actually not being done. Before you know it, you'll be in year number 3 and you're not done. All right, so the honors students have, the undergraduate students have 5 minutes of presentations, and then the next 5 minutes is reserved for questions, right? It's a question and answer session. So once they're done, please feel free to ask questions. And in the chat, I will be posting the time to remind people how many minutes they are remaining with. Occasionally, I'll unmute my microphone and remind you to say you have 5 minutes or something. So, all right, I'm going to stop presenting and then we'll transition to Mirriam's group. If you're ready, Mirriam and Mwenya, Elizabeth, Mulenga, are you ready?
Yeah.
That took long enough. Okay, I guess it's a sign that you're ready. All right, you can share your screen and send it away or something. Oh, and by the way, this thing is being recorded, so not that it matters anyway. But I thought I would mention that.
Are you able to see my screen?
I can,
yes.
But I know you. Sorry, before you start, I know there's this concern about data bundles, but seeing as some of you have not met other people, do you suppose maybe before you start presenting, you just switch on your webcam so that people know who you are? You know, if they meet you with a mask at East Park, they'll say hello or something, right?
Oh, okay.
So maybe before you start presenting, switch on your. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. If it's a problem, it's fine, but it'll be nice, right? And I don't think you eat up a lot of data bundles, but and also if you're not presenting, maybe switch off your mic and then give chance to the presenter, and then you switch it on when it's your turn or something. Great.
Good evening, everybody. We are Group CK2, and we are giving you a short presentation on our research proposal, and the title is Open Educational Resources. Our group comes from 4 students, firstly being Mwenya Kayula, who will present on the definition of open educational resources and licensing. Secondly, we'll have Mirriam Kamanga, who is going to explain on the examples of OERS, types of OER resources, classical and common examples. And thirdly, we'll have Elizabeth Chirwa, who's going to explain on OER repositories, what they are, how they're stored in OER repositories. And lastly, we'll have Chanda, who's going to present on the potentials of OERs in Zambia and how OERs facilitate effective teaching and learning in Zambia.
Open education resources are teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium. These materials are freely and open for educators, students, and self-learners to use and reuse for teaching and research purposes. There are 5 attributes of OERs, which are reuse, return, revise, remix, redistribution. And lastly, I'll talk about the licensing. There are different types of license system, but in the recent years, Creative Commons has in education become the most popular licensing system. Creative Commons has designed a collection of licenses to ensure that there is a suitable license for sharing content under various conditions. There are 4 main licensing, which are attribute, no derivatives works, share alike, and non-commercials.
And I'll talk about the examples of OER, types of OER resources, and the classic and common examples. So some of the examples of OERs are university courses, complete with reading, videos of lecturers, homework, assignments, and lecture notes, and also interactive mini lessons and simulations about a specific topic, such as math or physics, and also textbooks that are peer-reviewed and supported with auxiliary materials. And another example is elementary school and high school lesson plans, worksheets, and activities that are aligned with state standards. And some of the types of OER resources, these are OERs which are based on media. Secondly, the OERs which are based on quality. And there are also OERs which are based on authorship. And the fourth type is OER based on presentation. Fifth is the OER based on licensing, and lastly, OER is based on nature format. And some of the classic and common examples of OERs, these are OER Commons. We have MIT courseware, Khan Academy, Melot, OpenStack, and Academic F.
Okay, I'll take it up from here. So we're looking at open educational resources repositories. So to begin with, OER repositories are databases developed by institutions to store ERs or ERs for easy retrieval. So we have some examples, which is Wikimedia, YouTube Education, which is for educational resources. Then OERs repositories are freely accessible and are useful for teaching, learning, and assessing, as well as research purposes. So these repositories have been created to make the retrieval of OERs and the access the available OERs. So because OERs differ in nature, so they're stored in different formats. So the second part is how the OERs are stored in the repositories. So they're stored in the image format. An example of a repository which stores image is the Wikimedia. So we have the video format, which is YouTube. We have the audio format, the text, articles, and books, which can be found in some Google Documents repositories. And lastly, presentations.
I'm going to pick up the last part that talks about the potentials of OERs in Zambia. Firstly, it's going to reduce the cost of accessing educational materials. Secondly, it will improve the quality of materials. Thirdly, it will increase access to educational materials. Fourthly, it allows the adoption of materials and possibly contribute to enable learners to be active participants in educational processes. And lastly, it will help in integrating the provisions of OERs into the educational sector within the Republic of Zambia, has the potential to support the desired national educational transformation. And lastly, I'll talk about how OERs can facilitate effective teaching and learning in Zambia. The first one is that it will lead to improvement in student performance and satisfaction. Secondly, it will improve the teaching and learning practices in Zambia. Thirdly, it will provide materials that accommodate all students or contexts with special needs, thus bringing about effective learning. Fourthly, it will enhance competencies of teachers that will be able to deliver the content. And lastly, the use of OER in teaching and learning will bring in the dimension of openness and improve quality. Thank you, and this is the end of our presentation. If there are any questions.
All right, thank you so much. Group C2K2. It's like K2, the drug. I think you probably want to still beam up the presentation just in case people want to ask questions. But a bit of background about the honors students for this particular group. So they're still at a stage where they haven't really carved out the specific problem that they're going to be working on. I think we've only met, we have regular interactions, and I think we've only met on 3 or 4 occasions or something. I guess only progress we've made is we've had thorough discussions on what sort of topic they wanted to really focus on, and it turns out they gravitated more towards OERs. So this is just, I guess, an overview of what it is they've read on OERs and how they think this could actually make a good enough research topic or something. So, but if you have questions, the floor is open for questions. But in the meantime, I see the second group of honors students is in the house. So if you can prepare for your presentation, once the ladies are done with answering or addressing questions from the people attending the talks, then it'll be a turn to present. All right, so the floor is open if people have questions on open education resources. Okay, I was expecting a question from at least Kadeyo here, right? But that's fine. Maybe he's busy thinking about his presentation. Kadeyo is loosely, I mean, he's really focusing on OERs, but his interest is in educational technologies. But anyway, I don't know. In case people want a bit of background here, one of the reasons why I suggested or I included topic of OERs as an option on the list of topics that I shared with the students is, I mean, if you think about it, there's really very little that has been done in that space in Zambia, right? You'll be amazed. I'm part of this WhatsApp group, this Facebook group that's mostly composed of teachers in Zambia, right? Thousands of them. And occasionally, right? Not occasionally, actually. Routinely, I'll see posts like, who has the syllabus for computer studies? Who has the syllabus for history? You know, these are resources that should be made publicly available, right? In some sort of database or something that can easily be searched, right? To make it a lot easier for whoever is looking for that information to find it. It gets even worse, right? So usually when students are revising, let's say if there's an exam, for instance, it's difficult for most of them to gain access to past exam questions, for instance, right? So the idea behind this is, can you try and explore this particular space even more to try and see how we can take advantage of OERs in Zambia? And I know people like Zola will probably say, well, this has already been done elsewhere. Like I know South Africa, for instance, is miles ahead in this particular space, but clearly here, I mean, this is still something we think can be of value in Zambia. But if there are no questions, then maybe looking at the time, 17:20. Halwiindi and group, are you ready? Do you want to share your screen and do your presentation? I can see there are people in here. Hangoma is here. I think I saw Halwiindi at some point.
We're not yet ready, but we'll do so.
Okay. Okay, that's unfortunate. Okay, we can swap with Angela then. Angela, if you're ready, maybe you can share your screen and then we'll quickly jump to you. Thank you so much, Group C2K2, the K2, the drug.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Piri.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Mirriam.
It's actually evening. Good evening.
Yeah, it's an evening, afternoon though, but I don't know. But
oh yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so I'm just getting to my.
So again, as Angela is sharing her presentation, so I'm co-supervising Angela. Her principal the primary supervisor is Mrs. Zulu, Felicia Zulu. So but I play the role of co-supervisor, in case people are wondering, or if it matters to some people. And she's second year, so we've been working together from last year, actually beginning before last, towards the end of, is it 2018, I think.
Yes, from 2018.
Yeah, she was enrolled in a course that I was teaching. Okay.
Can you see my content?
No, I don't think you've shared your screen yet.
Oh, okay.
It's me. Sorry, maybe it's me. I don't think you've shared your... Okay, now we can see something.
Is it visible now?
It is. I don't know about the other participants. I can see your presentation. And I'm going to time you, although the previous presenters went beyond the allocated time, but I'll time you nonetheless. If you could stick to the prescribed time, that would be really good. The previous group went, but I think they did 6 minutes and 7 seconds. So if you could just stick to the 15 minutes, that would be really, is it 15 minutes? 15 minutes, yeah, that would be really good. But yeah.
Okay, yes, so my names are Angela Banda Nyirenda. And my study is an investigation of the workflows that are involved in the ingestion of electronic theses and dissertations into the institutional repositories. And this is a case study of the University of Zambia institutional repository. And like Dr. Piri did mention, my principal supervisor is Madam Felicia Zulu, and I'm being co-supervised by Dr. Piri. And so the background to this study briefly is that we've noticed that the ETDs that we have sitting in the institutional repositories sort of take too long to be placed into the institutional repository. And so students have access to if you like, all the electronic theses and dissertations. And this has an effect on the research output, because then we can have research duplication, because people won't know what research has been done. So we want to find ways of addressing this problem of the long delay between publication date and date of ingestion of ETDs into the institutional repository. Conceptually, we say that when a student submits their electronic thesis and dissertation, they are activities that go around, the postgraduate coordinators from various schools. They have certain activities or workflows that they do. And after that, they pass over the ETDs to DRGS. From DRGS, after they process, they submit to the library, who in turn ingest these ETDs into the institutional repository. So this conceptual framework just gives us, in a nutshell, the journey that ETDs take from the time they are submitted to the time they are, ingested into the institutional repository. So what we want to understand in this study is what are these activities that the various stakeholders do? And is there a way that we could find better ways of handling these workflows? So basically that is what the study is looking at. And maybe just to run through the objectives of the study. So the overall objective of this study is to explore effective workflows that can reduce the turnaround time that electronic theses and dissertations take to be ingested into the institutional repository from the time they are submitted. And so the specific objectives are to ascertain the turnaround time that is associated with submission and ingestion of ETDs into the institutional repository. So under objective 1, we are basically trying to understand the extent of the problem. And by so doing, we will go into which we've already started, we go into the institutional repository, we collect the ETDs that are there and see the actual problem at on site. When did this ETD come in our possession, and when did we submit it or ingest it into the institutional repository? The second objective is to understand the functions and associated workflows that multiple stakeholders involved in the submission and ingestion of ETDs into the institutional repository play. So what are these roles that they play, and how can we make these workflows and functions better? So that at the end of the day, we have these ETDs timely ingested into the institutional repository. And the last objective is that we want to propose workflows that can reduce the turnaround time between the time that they are submitted to the time of ingestion. The statement of the problem, like we did say at the beginning, we think that for a university to attain, quality in terms of research, they should have good quality, research resources. So this can only be done if people are, publishing, and these materials are made available timely into the institutional repository. So that's the problem that we are trying to look at. So our institutional repository, as it stands, lacks the recent ETDs present in there, and this leads to research duplication and low quality of research output. So maybe just to run through, I'll skip quite a number of things. I just want to share the progress that we've made, because I think that's from what we were guided. This is what you want to know, Doc. How far have we gone in the research? So we are glad to report that this work has been submitted for ethical clearance at DRGS, and for us to submit, obviously we needed to get clearance from our 2 supervisors. We got clearance from our 2 supervisors and submitted to DRGS for clearance. And so as we await clearance from DRGS, we thought we cannot just sit. We think there are still other things that we can do that do not that are not ethically sensitive. So under objective 1, we thought we could still go ahead and look at the turnaround time that is associated with submission and ingestion. So we went into the institutional repository and managed to harvest 3,500 ETDs from the institutional repository. So in harvesting, we harvested and converted the harvested data from XML to Excel. We also cleaned the work and computed the different submission dates and publication. So in short, we computed the turnaround time. But after looking at what we were doing, we discovered that our institutional repository actually wrongly captured the dates of submission. So we needed to go back and we revisited the dates of submission. So they were basically just saying date of submission and date of ingestion was the same date. Basically just a mistake that on the part of our colleagues from the library. So in view of this, we are working with transcribed data from the 4th year students. We will acknowledge this work as from the source. We are going to acknowledge in our work that we got this data from the 4th year students who transcribed data with the correct dates. So we are working on computing the turnaround time using the correct dates that were transcribed by the 4th year students. Further, we are also glad to report that we started working on chapter 4 because we thought this is another area that we could work on. So under chapter 4, we are basically discussing the steps that we took or the steps that we are taking in chapter 1 from harvesting data. How are we harvesting data? What tools, what protocols are we using in harvesting this data? How are we converting the data from XML to Excel? How are we filtering the data and so forth? So in chapter 4, we are discussing all these processes. And also under objective 1, the study also want to appreciate the turnaround time as reflected by other institutional repositories. So we have identified 3 institutional repositories that we want to work with. And so we want to see how our friends in the developing institutions are doing in terms of the turnaround time. Further, we also thought that as we are waiting for our document to be certified by the ethical committee, we thought we could start engaging the people that we are targeting as our, the people that we are going to collect data from. So we contacted the library and we constituted a team of 3 members that we intend to engage in a discussion, a focus group discussion. So we we just want to familiarize them to the study, what we are doing, and so we are in touch and in discussion with them. So once the ethical clearance comes through, we will go ahead and have either an online or a physical discussion with the library. We have also contacted 5 postgraduate coordinators from the various schools. These, we hope to send them questionnaires through Google survey, because if the COVID-19 situation continues, then we might as well, continue with our work. So we hope to send them the questionnaires that we have through Google survey, and our target is to reach out to 13 postgraduate coordinators. The other thing that we have done is to initiate a conversation with the Assistant Registrar DRGS. So we also have started the conversation with the Assistant Registrar, with the view that we could have audience with her, so that we see, the type of documents they have and the processes they undertake when the ETDs reach them. Yeah, so under Objective 3, we are also reviewing ETD submission models from various universities. This will help us to propose a model, a prototype system that we would like to propose, and will be later tested. And so in that space, that's what we are also doing. I think that's all that we can report in view of time. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. You actually had plenty of time, 3 more minutes here, and I don't know if in view of time there was, I don't think it was necessary to skip the slides, but thank you so much for the presentation, Angela, for the progress. I mean, I have intimate knowledge of the project itself, so it's not really for me, but it's meant for you and I guess the other colleagues, the other students that I work with. But I don't know if there are any questions here. And as people are thinking about questions, just to mention that what Angela is working towards is just a small little piece of a bigger puzzle, right? So in the past, we've worked with 4th-year students that have worked on similar or related problem, right? And I hope the service is available, but if you're curious at your own time, find time and access it's an archive, it's a departmental archive for the Department of Library Information Science. We use it to archive research output in the department. So it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is what Angela is working towards is linked to a number of other projects that other students have worked on. And in fact, if Robert was around, you're probably going to be able to piece together these different pieces, because Robert happens to be working on some aspects that are related to Angela's topic, chosen topic. So yeah, I don't know if there are any questions about institutional repositories.
I do have a question.
Ask away. Yes, thank you.
Hi, Madam Angela.
Hello, Dokowe. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I wanted to know the 3,500 harvested in the repository. Are these all of them that are held in the Mwanza repository?
Okay, these are not all of them. We currently do have a challenge with the script that I'm using to harvest. So that is part of the data. It's not all of them.
Okay, and then I don't know if you're able to mention the other institutions you're working with, just out of interest, because we are also trying to come up with a repository at my workplace.
Okay, the institutions that we've identified that we would like to review?
Yes.
Okay, so UCT is one of them. And so the others, not so clear yet, because we are still reviewing how good are they, because we can only compare with something that is of a higher standard. If we pick something of a lower standard, then we might be shooting in the air. So most of those that have been checking, I noticed that they also have a challenge of this turnaround time. So I do want to speak to only those that are doing fine. And UCT, University of Technology in South Africa, is the only one so far that have settled with.
All right, okay, thank you.
UCT is University of Cape Town. But here's the thing. I don't know, Angela, this is important. I don't know if you've picked up on something that I find interesting coming from Dokowe. And Dokowe, by the way, in case people are wondering, Dokowe is a deputy librarian at Zikas University. So she's not just a student, but she works. She has experience with these things. And we've been interacting with Zikas in the sidelines. And more recently, we were invited to attend the colloquium where we shared our experiences at UNZA, right? And I'm trying to find out if the part of your research, your objectives that involve
Hello, Lighton, I've lost you.
Evaluation was a case of well-established workflows in. Hello,
I lost you.
Oh, okay, can you hear me now, though?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what I was saying is, while Dokowe's question was more specific in her trying to find out which are these universities you're saying you're going to be working with, you might want to consider interacting with Zikas University or Zikas. Why? Because they've just recently set up a repository. And so what you could do actually is try and see how you can involve them in that last objective of yours, where you're going to evaluate these workflows. Because my understanding was that, or at least the current plan anyway, is that you're going to use UNZA, yeah, right? But you could extend it even further and just involve Zika or something, right? You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, might be interesting, yeah. Especially that. And by the way, so something else we've been discussing with Angela, Dokowe, Kadeyo, and Robert, master students, is how we can modify our previous plans so that they fit into this whole COVID-19 pandemic. Because if you look at some of Angela's objectives, you notice that the last two might involve some aspect of high interacting with human beings, right? Because of what's currently going on right now, we've been having discussions on how we can go about modifying these objectives so that maybe you take advantage of platforms like what we are using right now. So if you're saying you're going to have a focus group discussion, why not just do it online? Because people won't I guess they won't be happy with the fact that you want to go and interact with them face to face. But anyway, thanks for that. I don't know if there are any other questions.
Yeah, I do. I sent a text on the group. The thing is, there's no raise hand feature here, so. Hello?
Aha, right. Sorry. Yeah, it's yeah. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, I can get you.
Oh, I just have a few questions. It's just, again, it has to do with my background. I don't really have a background in sort of information science or library sciences, just pure computer science, I suppose. So the first question I had was, you mentioned that there's a difference between publication and the publication date and the ingestion date. Can you just clarify what that means and what that difference is, rather?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Actually, publication date and ingestion date is one date. So you find that Dublin Core has defined them differently. We have about maybe 3 or 4 dates. However, publication date and ingestion date is basically the same date. So the date that is different is submission date. Yeah,
okay.
A submission date, or maybe accession, the date accessioned. Thank you.
So I think Zola is trying to find out more on what these dates are all about. So what is ingestion date and what is submission date, and what's the relationship between these two things when tied to what you're doing? I think that's Zola's question. If I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are looking at these dates as a core variable because they are the ones that tells us a story on how long these ETDs take from the date the student graduates and submits to the school until the date that they are placed into the institutional repository. Remember, we said there are a lot of processes that take place in the background when a student submits this document for it to be finally put into the institutional repository. There are all these processes that go on that we do want to understand, first of all. Then secondly, we have already identified the problem that the documents take too long to be placed there. So the dates that we have in place, we have, the date that the documents are submitted, so date submission, the date of submission according to Dublin Core. The other date is date accessioned. So these are dates that the technical people in the library are working on these documents to finally publish them. And then we have publication date, which is also synonymous to date ingestion, the date of ingestion.
Okay, thank you. The other question is the other question is not really a question, but rather a suggestion. Because currently you frame the problem as saying, I believe, the issue is that it takes too long to actually publish the dissertations or thesis, right? Now, the problem I foresee in this is you are currently assuming that the reason why that happens is due to the workflow. Now, suppose you were to improve the workflow and at the end you find that there's no difference in the time it takes, it's still too long. Because the problem is not, it doesn't have to do with the workflow. It would mean that at the end of the thesis, you haven't actually solved the problem you stated in the beginning. So you might want to restructure it a bit just to be clear as to what exactly you're trying to do.
Okay, thank you so much for that observation. Very valid observation, actually. So from the preliminary works that we've been doing and data collecting by chatting with the various people, we noticed that actually the workflows are the key things that are leading to this delay. Because when we look at other institutions that are having self-archiving, for example, when a student graduates, then you just have a person who is just validating your document and ingesting it. You know, it's quicker. But what could be killing us could be the workflows. So I'm quite optimistic that that's where the problem lies on the workflows. But should it turn out then that it's not the workflows like you observe, I still think that with the suggested prototype, we think the problem of delayed submission of ETDs will still be addressed. So we still think we are on course in as far as addressing the problem is concerned. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, I will, this is being recorded, so you want to play it back. What Zola is suggesting is that you sort of like try and restructure, right? Restructure the problem statement and the objectives just in the event that this workflow that just doesn't, the workflows that you're going to propose do not in any way solve the problem, right? That's what he's suggesting. Just something to think about. If you want to play back what he just said at a later stage. Right, so something else here, in case people are wondering or are confused here, and I know maybe group C2, K2 have an idea of what's going on, because one of the topics that I suggested they look at was this whole notion of ETDMS. But Zola, if you go to our institutional repository, right, what you will realize is that we actually are still struggling to ingest things that were submitted in 2018. Now, I know this personally because I'm part of the so-called investor ranking committee, and well, I've actually been invited to work on some aspects of that. What we've been doing these last couple of months is working on a research report for the institution. And sadly, we were unable to incorporate output associated with electronic thesis and dissertations just because the data is not there.
Okay, I see. Sorry, I just have one last question now for Angela before I forget. Can you still hear me?
Yes, please, I can. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I misunderstood you, but at some point you were referring to the system. So are you saying that if, suppose, for instance, you find that there's a specific issue within the workflow itself that is causing the problem, say, for instance, it takes too much time to, I don't know, categorize the various theses, right? Are you going to build a tool then to order to sort of automate some of these things?
Exactly. Thank you so much. Yes, so what we are suggesting, apart from just identifying the problem and talking to the various stakeholders to see the steps that the processes that they do, in as far as processing of these ETDs are concerned. So we also want to propose a prototype that would better process the time, so that will enable us to do things in time. So yes, we are proposing a system.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
And just to clarify, Zola, so Angela is a master. She's pursuing a master of library information science, right? She's not computer science, and the system she's talking about is aspects to do with just modifying DSpace, because the UNZA institutional repository uses DSpace. So if she discovers to say some aspect of the current submission workflow need to be modified, her role is simply to make alterations to the current workflow, so that maybe she incorporates stakeholders that are not currently part of that process of ingesting content into the repository. So not really building a system from scratch, but rather just...
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Piri.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't really be, it's bad form to answer on the behalf of students, but I just thought people should be given some sort of background information of what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, are there any other questions?
Hello. Hello, Dr. Piri.
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Go on with your question, Kadeyo.
Madam Angela, how are you?
I'm okay, Kadeyo. How are you?
I'm all right. That was a good presentation. I really enjoyed it. For me, it's just a concern actually with the University of Zambia Institutional Repository. I once worked there for 2 years, where students actually could submit dissertations or theses, and those theses actually were being powered. And if you can go to our institutional repository, you'd find that probably maybe we have 4,000, but people have submitted in large numbers, but nothing is happening. So for me, that is a wake-up call for the University of Zambia main library actually to work on it, so that many publications can be accessed by the students. So congratulations, Madam Angela, for that one.
Thank you so much, Kadeyo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So I guess in the interest of time, that'll be all for Madam Angela. If you have specific questions, you can reach out to me and I'll share Madam Angela's contact details so that you can find out more information. Without further ado, I think next in line is Kadeyo. So the honors group that was unable to present, you present towards the end. We don't want to disturb the workflow here of the presentations, talk of workflows. So Kadeyo, if you're ready, maybe you can share your screen. Angela, you can unshare your screen now so that you give chance to Kadeyo or something. Your microphone is muted, Kadeyo.
Hello.
Yes,
hello.
we can hear you now.
Are you able to see my presentation, Doc?
No, we can't.
Really? Are you able to see anything? Hello?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Are you using a computer or a phone?
I'm using a computer actually, laptop.
Okay. Have you clicked on present now?
Okay, so I've clicked yes.
And then share your entire screen.
Okay, just a minute. Click. It says enter screen, okay.
And then click in that image within the pop-up, and then click the share button, the blue button. And you should thank the person who is in the background, maybe hooting for you, because they're helping you, right? This is good. I'm guessing it's a significant other. It's nice, right? Like that.
Okay. You're able to see it?
Not yet. Did you click the share button?
Yes, I did, Doc.
Now we can see it.
Okay. Actually, my full names are Kadeyo Kuyela, doing Masters in Library and Information Studies. My principal supervisor is Christine Kanyengo, and my co-supervisor is actually Dr. Lighton Perry. My research proposal, actually, research question is investigating the effectiveness of using interactive tablets in primary schools.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kadeyo, but you probably want to open PowerPoint. I can't see. I don't know about the others in here. Could someone comment here? Can you see the presentation? Maybe it's just me.
No, Doc, we can't see.
Okay, thanks.
I've shared it, actually.
Have you opened PowerPoint or something? If you're using PowerPoint?
Yes, I've opened it, actually, Doc. Can you view it, actually? Can you see it?
No.
Okay, let me click here. Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Can you see the...
You want to share again? Try and present now and then share the entire screen. Try it again. Yeah. Now, for the people in the room, this happens almost all the time. In the other course that we're involved with, right, in the Department of Computer Science, the last two presenters, we struggled to have them set up. You know, the first one with Ernest, I think it took us almost 30 minutes to fix the problem. So hopefully it won't take us that long. But
are you able to see it? I've shared it.
Okay, you have shared, but do you want to open PowerPoint now? Open PowerPoint. Have you?
I've opened my PowerPoint. Actually, it's
if there's someone in the room who has an idea of what the problem might be, I'm lost for words. That I have no idea what the problem could be here. But did you click on your entire screen when you said so? Click on present now.
I've clicked on my entire screen actually. It says share.
Did you click again? So click on. Yeah. So make sure you click in the pop-up window that comes up. Click on that image that you're seeing, and then say share. And then we should be able to hopefully see this. Okay, now we can see. Oh, and you're gone again. I don't know what happened.
I'm gone again.
Yeah, it disconnected again.
Right. Come on. Hello?
Do you want to open PowerPoint and try and go in full presentation mode or something? And for the audience, we do apologize for the breaking transmission. If this persists, we'll ask that we move on to the next person, and then Kadeyo can present towards the end or something. But can you try again one last time? So present now, and then open PowerPoint and go in full presentation mode. Maybe that might help. Now we can see your presentation. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, my research proposal is based on investigating the effectiveness of using interactive tablets in primary schools, a case study of Mwabu tablets. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can proceed.
Basically, my outline of my presentation will be the background of the study, statement of the problem, research objective, specific objective, research questions, the significance of the study, theoretical framework, operational definitions, and literature review and the research methodology. As we all know that the world actually is integrating ICTs into education in order to enable the educational sector actually to progress economically and socially. Information and communication technology is an extension term for information technology that stresses the role of an unified communication and in the integration of telecommunication computers, as well as enterprise software, middleware, storage, audio-vision systems that enables us to access, store, transmit, and manipulate information. ICTs are receiving focus at various platforms as demonstrated by the World Summit on the Information Society. In Zambia, actually, the government has demonstrated the incorporation of the importance of ICTs in education by incorporating it with the 5th National Development Plan of 2016 to 2010. The Ministry of Education endeavors to integrate ICT in teaching and learning at all levels. This is in a bid to improve the quality of education delivery system and provide support to alternative electronic standalone devices. An interactive tablet actually is one of the tools that has enabled the integration of information and communication technology in education. This has been recognized by the project of AfriConnect Development, an internet service provider, which started in 2007. According to this person, actually, e-learning is a process created by interaction with digital delivery content, network-based services. A tablet basically can be defined as a general purpose computer content in a touch screen panel that is operated and interacted primarily with a figure or sightless. The impact of the tablet in primary schools actually in the developing world is not widely spread. This is because people in developing world more often have no access to the technology that is needed to engage in learning. The Zambian primary schools actually are using Mwabu interactive tablet, which is a complete e-learning system and is centered on providing lessons for teachers and online interactive multimedia learning content for pupils in grade 1 to 7. The tablet actually has got 8 local language, which includes Bemba, Kaonde, Lunda, Lozi, Luvale, Nyanja, Tonga, and the Lusaka Nyanja actually. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we are here. We are here.
The Mwabu tablet actually comes in 3 forms. There's what we call the home tablet, the people tablet, and the teacher tablet. Now, what is it that really we want to do or to investigate about the interactive of using Mwabu tablets into primary schools? The statement of the problem states that ICTs have been seen as a positive catalyst by many policymakers in sub-Saharan African countries, and this has improved educational outcomes tremendously. Therefore, the government of Zambia actually visualizes a country which is transformed into information knowledge-based society and economy which is supported by consistent development and prevalence of ICT by the citizens in the year 2030. As a result, the ICT policy with regard to education aims at integrating more interactive in the educational system, and this can be seen by the Zambia Information and Communication Technology, which is ZICTA, which has partnered with iSchool Zambia in a project that aims to empower primary schools through the supply and installation of digital content on computers and training of teachers. The tablets, the Mwabu interactive tablets actually are a new way of teaching learners, and this is because they introduce an era of blended classroom. The tablet actually does not replace face-to-face teaching with e-learning, but supports classroom activities by providing comprehensive lesson plans and interactive. The tablets have also broadened the range of pedagogical methodology which are available for teachers actually to engage when teaching the learners. Therefore, this study actually will make an effort to investigate the effectiveness of using mobile interactive tablets in primary schools. My research objectives actually, the first one is to explore how the Mwabu interactive tablets are utilized by the teachers and pupils. That is my first objective. Then the second one is to determine the effectiveness of Mwabu interactive tablets in facilitating teaching and learning activities conducted by the educator. Then the third one is to investigate the impact made by the Mwabu interactive tablets on the learners and teachers. So basically, we want to explore how the tablet actually is being utilized by the teachers and pupils. Then we also want to determine how effective is these tablets actually upon facilitating the teaching and learning activities that is being conducted by the educators. Then last, we want to know the impact that the tablet has actually on the learners and the pupils. Hello? Hello, Dr. Piri.
We are still here. Everybody's still here. 15 people.
Okay, wonderful. Then the significance of the study is that the tablet has in the recent past been seen as a potential way to change how teachers teach. This is because it will support educational reforms as a teaching support tool in learning institutions. The study will attempt to unearth the effectiveness of using interactive tablets in primary schools. The findings of the study might be significant to policymakers in the Ministry of General Education to address the integration of Mwabu interactive tablets in the educational system. Then the theoretical framework basically that I've used in order to support my research is the TPAC. The theoretical framework for this study will be anchored on the TPAC. The TPAC theory actually has been chosen because it gives a framework for the integration of technology in education and how you can structure the classroom to provide the best effective educational experience for pupils with incorporating the technology. The TPAC basically stands for Technological Pedagogic Content. It is a theory that was developed to explain the set of knowledge that teachers need to teach their pupils, a subject which is effectively and use technology as a tool. So the TPAC model actually identifies three primary forms of knowledge, which are content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge. And this is a good example of the TPAC model. Then the literature review, these are some of the literature review that actually I've used in my literature review chapter 2. Then coming to the research methodology, actually my approach towards my research is on the philosophical approach actually is interpretivism. Then the research design, this actually will be a mixed method where qualitative and quantitative strategies actually will be employed. Then the target population for my study will comprise of 36 private schools within the Lusaka district. According to the information that I collected from High School Zambia, there are 46 private schools that are using the Mwabu tablets. So out of 46, actually, I selected 35 private schools actually, of which I'll visit, and I've visited some already. Then my sample size basically in total it will be 175, of which in each school, out of the 35 schools that I'll select, each school I'll select 2 teachers. Then the number of pupils that I'll select in each school will be 3 pupils, which tallies to 105. So basically my sample size will be 137. Then the sampling procedure actually that I'm going to use specifically for teachers, I'm going to use purposive sampling. Then for pupils, simple random sampling. Then the data collection method that I'm going to use, I'll use questionnaires for teachers and then interview guides actually for the pupils. Then data will be analyzed in quantitative using SPS, in qualitative thematic analysis. Then before venturing into the field actually to collect data, ethical clearance actually will be collected from Humanity, Social Science, Ethical Committee, which is very important actually before you go into the field. Then people might be wondering to say, what is it that is trying to work on it? Actually, this is the Mwabu tablet gadget that I believe all of you are able to see. Hello?
Yes, we can see that
Hello?
one.
So this is the gadget actually that I'm trying to find out how effective is this gadget actually to the learners and the pupils. Thank you very much. I hope I'm within the time.
You were, Kadeyo. Thank you so much. Great stuff. Now, just to mention, I don't know if people can see me here. I also have a Mwabu tablet at home. This is how Kadeyo and I are really serious with this. We think
just for the sake of this work hasn't yet been submitted to DRGS. It is still waiting for approval by the supervisors, which is Dr. Pidi and Madam Christine Kanyengo actually. So we are still working on it until it reaches its perfection. Then we'll submit to DRGS. Hello.
Great. Yes, we'll invite questions now. People, I'm sure people have questions for what Kadeyo is doing. And as we are thinking about the questions, it turns out that what we've discovered, or at least what Kadeyo has discovered, is that you know, these devices and gadgets are just being peddled, but no comprehensive studies have been performed to try and measure their effectiveness, right, or their efficacy. So this is in part what Kadeyo is wanting to work towards. Right. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if there are questions.
Yeah, I have one. Oh, two actually. So the first question I had was the Mwabu tablet project launched, like, is it quite recent? Was it launched after the one tablet per child initiative?
Hello? Hello?
So I'm just, hi. So I'm asking about the project. When was it launched? Is it a recent project, right?
Basically, it's a recent project here in Zambia.
Okay, so as a follow-up from that, then I see from your review is, so essentially the question that should be asked here is, the project is quite recent, right? And I would assume that, for instance, people have learned from what happened like a couple of years ago with the one laptop per child sort of project. So are you taking any lessons from that project or going into what you're doing?
I haven't taken it to that angle actually. I've just taken it as the Mwabu tablets as it is in Zambia actually.
Okay.
So Kadeyo, you probably want to take note. What he's suggesting is, you see, if you read up on, and we've had discussions about the one laptop per child, and incidentally, Zola, we've also had discussions about initiatives that have been launched in your part of the world, right?
Yeah.
ICT for rural education. We've been having those conversations, but fundamentally, the premise of Kadeyo's work, and I shouldn't be saying this, but I should nonetheless. But what we're saying is, if they're already on the market, if they're already being used, the least we can do is just go with the flow and try and gauge the effectiveness, right? Are people just buying these gadgets, or are they using them? At what extent are they being used? But of course, as part of his related work, we expect to see ICT for rural education in the one laptop per child. And not too long ago, I think the Kenyan president had proclaimed that they would start providing laptops for, is it high school going kids or something? So those are all things that we're probably going to look at eventually.
Oh,
even though it's in second year, it's still at proposal stage, sort of.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, before I forget now. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
So from what I can see, right, in the introduction, you were talking about effectiveness. However, from based on like your methodology, what I see here, you're going to be asking people, you're going to have an interview, right, with participants, either, let's see with this, the students and the teachers. So when you talk about effectiveness, are you talking about the perceived effectiveness from the perspective of the students and the teachers?
Come again?
In other words,
come again.
Hi. So Kadeyo, when you talk about this notion of effectiveness, are you talking about whether it actually helps them learn, or are you talking about they think that it actually helps them learn?
Actually, I'm talking about if it really helps them to learn, not what they normally think that it helps them, but how the tablet actually useful it is to them actually.
But then, if you're interested in learning, not so much their perception of it, right? How can you then gauge that from interviews only? Because maybe like when they talk to you, they're going to say, "Oh, it helps us learn," but then when you look at their test results, they are failing.
That actually I have to put into consideration. You are very correct, actually. So I have to look at the past records before actually the incoming of the Mwabu tablets and how it has been, so that I can have a clear mindset or clear roadmap actually to say, is it effective or not effective? Thank you for that, actually. It's a wake-up call to me, actually.
Maybe it's time for us to put out our data laundry out there, Kadeyo. Incidentally, Zola. So the last, but that objective to do with effectiveness is something that we are still discussing. It's something that Kadeyo is thinking about, and it has come up, right? I've mentioned to him, we've discussed actually the fact that if you look at literature, one way of measuring efficacy or effectiveness of these technologies is to look at learning outcomes. But you can only measure learning outcomes if you have a basis for a comparison. And what that means is you'd have to undertake some longitudinal study or something. We don't have time for that. So he's still thinking about that. It's likely going to remove that effectiveness bit or look at perceived effectiveness, like Zola is suggesting. So takeaway point, Zola, Kadeyo, is you want to write down what you mentioned, perceived effectiveness.
Thanks, Zola, I really appreciate it.
Or more recently, in the oral exams, somebody who was defending, who happens to be a faculty staff in the School of Education, used what he calls, or what's called, self-efficacy, right? So these are reported things.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, I'm sorry I had to come in, but I guess just to help the people in the audience understand what we're working towards, I thought it would be important.
Thanks for that, I really appreciate it.
Are there any other questions? And for the fourth years that are leaving the room, one of the reasons why you were invited is not just to do your presentation. At some stage, you're going to have to come up with aspects that have been presented by the more senior students, right? So the methodology, and this is the best way to kind of pick up ideas here, right? I would stick around if I were you, but of course I'm not you. Okay, if there are no questions, looking at time again, thank you, Kadeyo, very much. That was wonderful.
Thanks very much, Doc.
Although I know that the topic is working towards or his research area, but I thought that was a wonderful presentation. So seeing as Robert is not around, I don't know, I hope he's well. Dokowe, if you're ready, I think you're next in line.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Kadeyo, if you can unshare your screen. Thank you so much again, Kadeyo. And then we'll give an opportunity to Dokowe. So as Dokowe is setting up, by the way, like I said, I'm co-supervising Kadeyo. His principal supervisor or primary supervisor is the librarian, who is Mrs. Christine Kanyengo. But the next speaker I'm supervising, and she's being co-supervised by Dr. Kandela. So Dokowe, the floor is yours, and she's a first year master's student.
Okay, good evening to everyone. My name's Dokowe Tembo. I'm a first year master's student.
Sorry, Dokowe, I don't think you've shared your screen yet.
Oh, I haven't?
Maybe it's just me, I can't see.
Oh, okay, no. Have I shared it now?
Yes, I can see something now, yes. I can see Mwaba to Baker research is a bit, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah. So, as I said, my name's Dokowe Tembo. My research topic is, my proposed research topic is a usability evaluation of university library portals in Zambia. Dr. Piri is my main supervisor with Dr. Aka as a co-supervisor. So I'll go straight into the presentation. That's the outline of the presentation. We'll start with the background, statement of the problem, significance, theoretical framework, up until research questions. So the background of the study is that with the liberalization of the Zambian economy, we've seen an influx or an increase in the number of universities. According to the Higher Education Authority, currently, Zambia has 60 universities, both private and public. And we all know that each university or higher learning institution to exist needs to have a library. So, driven by the effort to serve customers better, many libraries of higher educational institutions have developed and implemented library portals. A web portal is a type of site designed to present to the user the ability to visit and providing a link to another site. With the increase of the number of library portals comes the need for usability evaluation of these portals. So simply put, usability is considered as one of the most important aspects for the success of any technological product. So according to Laser, Finn, and Hochester, a usability problem is something that is confusing, misleading, or suboptimal in interface. Assessing web usability has now become an essential requirement to improve universities' websites. So we'll go straight into the statement of the problem. As I had mentioned earlier, we have seen an increase in the number of universities in Zambia, and these universities are being regulated by a statutory body called the Higher Education Authority. And one of the regulations stipulated by this body are that libraries need to provide e-resources and subscriptions to international journals and databases. And from experience or from exposure, we've seen that most of these international universities are providing these e-resources by having their libraries create library portals. So our problem now, or we are trying to find out, is how have universities in Zambia actually adopted these portals? And if they have, how have they gone about doing it? So if they have adopted them, are these portals friendly? What is the usability state of these portals as effective and efficient channels of knowledge delivery? So we go on to the research objectives. The main objective of the study is to evaluate the usability of university library portals in Zambia. Then we have the specific objectives being, firstly, to investigate whether universities in Zambia have adopted library portals. Secondly, to investigate how the libraries have implemented their portals. And thirdly, to explore the users' perceptions on usability of these library portals. We go on to our research questions, which are basically a mirror of our specific research objectives, except in question form. Then the significance of the study will be to provide answers to the effectiveness of the information design of these Zambian university academic library portals as information communication channels, and if there is need to change and improve the current portals. Also, the findings will add to the already existing literature in the field of website usability of the academic library portals and may prompt further research in the future. Our theoretical framework of the research will be based on the study by Venkatesh and others, because it enables the studying of acceptance and vis-a-vis non-acceptance and non-use of technology. This theory is called the Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology, and it contains 4 determinants of IT user behavior. In this case, we are looking at the library portal. So the 4 determinants that we expect that will, with our library portal, will be, from the user's point, will be the performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitating conditions, which will be moderated by the 4 variables, which are gender, age, experience, and voluntariness of use. These characteristics, or rather variables, are very important in understanding the characteristics of different user groups. In this case, as I mentioned, the library portals. The literature review, I went through a lot of literature, but I for time's sake, I just summarized this and came up with these authors. So the first one being Manisha and Pent, who focused on the importance of portals in an institution and highlighted the need for portal development to take place across traditional institutional structures. Secondly, Alquefa and Reader highlighted that the library's homepage represents a new platform for delivery of varieties of library services and gives academic libraries the leverage and ammunition they need to outperform competitor websites and gain loyalty of students, teachers, and researchers. And lastly, Judy, based her study on ISO 9241-11, developed a usability evaluation model for digital libraries and aspects of evaluation attributes that are based on effectiveness, efficiency, satisfaction, and learnability. When we come to our research methodology, so the research design of this proposed research will be based on a mixed method design that will combine both quantitative and qualitative approaches. This mixed method research design will further take a convergent parallel mixed method, which will involve me, the researcher, converging or merging quantitative and qualitative data in order to provide a comprehensive analysis of the research problem. So our research methodology will be stage by stage according to the objectives. So our first objective being, we want to know if universities in Zambia have adopted these library portals. So the first step we'll take is we'll look at our population. In this case, we have 60 registered universities under the HEA, and our participants will be the focal contact points that we'll get from the HEA, and we'll sample them by using a purposive sampling technique because we are purposely sampling them. And our data measurement instrument will send out questionnaires for those in Osaka, may visit them physically if circumstances allow, or will electronically send out questionnaires. And the second objective will be based on the results obtained from the first objective. So the population, in this case, will be the number of universities that have adopted library portals, which at the moment we do not know. And the participants will be the librarians and IT professionals involved in setting up and content management of the portals at each university. We shall use purposive sampling in this case, and interviews will be scheduled with the librarians and IT professionals. For those in remote locations, we shall schedule telephone interviews, and definitely they will all be recorded to ensure everything is captured. Last objective, which now involves the actual usability of the library portals. Again, this will be based on what will be obtained in objective 1. In this case, our participants will be the students. We'll use stratified random sampling, and our sample determination using that formula from literature, which will end up giving us a sample size of 384. Our data measurement instruments will be questionnaires, both physically and electronically, and we'll analyze all the data obtained using SPSS for the quantitative data and the thematic way for the qualitative data. And finally, we go to our ethical clearance. First things first, we'll definitely get approval from the UNZA Research and Ethics Committee. Then we'll respect the respondents' confidentiality, their rights and values will be respected, and their findings will be used for academic purposes only. The limitation that I think I might come across would be the most library portals tend to limit access to users that are not paid up members or students rather, and members of staff. So this might be a hindering factor. And the lack of previous or published studies in this research area in Zambia will be a limiter in the literature review as it is an important part of any research because it helps to identify the scope of works that have been done in any research area. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Dokowe. That was nice.
Okay.
You mentioned though, you sound low. I hope you're not sick or something, or maybe
no, I'm not. No. I'm trying to get away from the kids.
Oh, okay, right, okay. I should mention here that we've only been at this with Dokowe and Dr. Kadeyo for just a few weeks, so we think that Dokowe has actually made tremendous progress in trying to cover out her proposal. But if there are questions, please, the floor is open if you are interested in library portals. Now, usually if there's silence, there's always a question of, but why, right? Maybe
I wasn't clear enough or something.
More, I guess I have intimate knowledge of the topic, so I would say you were clear, more actually much clearer, but I don't know, maybe because I'm a part of this, so I'm somewhat attached to the topic. Don't know. Group C2K2, was that clear? Do you have a question?
It was clear for me.
Okay. All right. Do you have a question though for Dokowe? Dokowe happens to be the last person, I guess. Oh, sorry, there's another group coming. Halwiindi's group. Sorry, I forgot that. The group we missed out. If there are no questions, then we shall. If you are interested, at some point, maybe towards the end of the year or next year, Dokowe will give a presentation, and hopefully by then should have collected some
Dr. Perry.
If this interests you, I've developed an interest in this myself. I don't know why, but I can see them in the chat. I don't know if Mulomba, do you want to comment? Are you going to give the talk, or? And I think he's the only group member who is present. Halwiindi, are you there? Hello?
Can you get me? Hello?
Yes, we can get you. Yes.
Yes, I'm there, but we didn't necessarily plan the presentation, but I can give an overview of what we are planning to do to research, the research that we're planning to embark on. Hello?
Sure, I mean, it's better than. Well, yes, you can give a rundown of what you're planning to do. That's fine.
Okay.
Or if you're not...
So basically, yes, sir.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay. Basically, we're planning to do an empirical study on the impact of digital technology enhanced learning in higher learning institutions, which is a case study at the University of Zambia. So the reason why we plan to study to do a research on this is because of like the rise of the coronavirus pandemic, which has led to approximately 90% of the world's student population affected due to worldwide closures. And several other countries have implemented localized closures that is impacting millions of additional learners. And in a step to sustain learning grounds, for most students, there has been a huge step in the use of the same technology-enhanced learning systems. And by technology-enhanced learning systems, we are mainly focusing on the digital side, not the analog side of the technology learning systems. Basically, what we mean by technology enhanced learning, it is simply a term used to describe the application of technology to teaching and learning. And here our main focus, like I said, is on the digital part. And we're planning to look at the benefits of the same technology enhanced learning and what are the challenges people are facing, mostly students at the University of Zambia. So like currently, there are two online systems that the University of Zambia is using, which is mainly the Moodle platform and also the Astria learning platform. So basically, the Moodle platform is the most common, I can call it the most common learning management system that is currently there. And it has basically up to close to 199 million users and 24 million courses that are offered using the same Moodle. And it's simply an acronym it's simply an acronym which means modular object-oriented learning environment. And that means it can be installed in a server, like it can be installed in terms of websites, like the way the UNZA platform website is. It's already installed there for students to have access to it. And that applies with the Astria platform, despite the fact that the Moodle platform is free and open access as compared to the Astria, which is a paid platform. So we intend to study on the user experience. How are students coping with this type of technologies? Is it affecting them, or are they benefiting much from the same use of technology systems? And we also want to look at how the lecturers and instructors, how are they coping in terms of using such systems? Because systems like the Moodle, for example, they are kind of hard to use in terms of on the lecturer side, in terms of teaching students and the like. So we want to understand how they're using these systems, because there have been multiple complaints, but this is not solid information. There'll be multiple complaints that most of the lecturers are not offering lessons on the Moodle platforms. And I don't know about the Astria, but they're not offering those lessons. And so this is where the study is. And there have been also complaints saying most lecturers are using other platforms like Zoom and other learning platforms, and neglecting the current platforms which are offered by the University of Zambia. And looking at most of the populace, the current situation they are in, and you'd find that most of them don't have access to data and the like, and there have been certain subscriptions that have happened that have been brought about, like maybe the MTN platforms, where you can access, you can have free access to the UNZA learning platform. But the problem is the fact that most of the resources are not being posted on those platforms, and most of these things, the learning systems that we are currently experiencing, are being used in using external applications like Zoom and the like. So this is where the study is on how we can improve the learning experience of students, and also how we can improve the teaching experience of the same lecturers. This is where we plan on the main study that we are planning to do.
All right, thanks, Halwiindi. Although it's rather unfortunate that your colleagues threw you into the lion's den here alone, right? When you're 5 of you, it's just 1 out of 5. Thanks for that. Just to give people a bit of background here, we haven't, for Halwiindi's group, we haven't gotten to a stage where we've actually even decided on the topic that that they're going to work on. So the process in the department is such that once students are paired up with supervisors, they're paired up based on supervisors' interests, right? This is for the 4th year. And of course, each supervisor takes a different approach. I know some of our colleagues in the department will actually go with what the students propose, But my approach is usually to, if the proposal is something that might take a considerable amount of time to carve out into a proper research problem, then we suggest a problem, right? Or we suggest a topic that the students are going to work towards. So we haven't got into that stage with Halwiindi's group. Hopefully we can do that very, very soon, right? But that was good. I think this whole COVID thing really has raised a number of questions, right? Questions that need answers. But I don't know if people have just random questions for Halwiindi based on what he just raised. I don't know. Oh, I don't know if the president...
Just to share.
Oh, I just wanted to, did the president say we're opening? I don't know, universities, I don't know. Dokowe, please go on.
No, only examination classes are opening on the 1st of June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just an interest, Mwamba is carrying out a research on Moodle. So if is it a Halwiindi he can get in touch and I can connect them. I think it would be beneficial to them if they actually end up settling for Moodle.
Yeah, of course. I was actually going to mention that in my closing remarks that like all of you are on the DataLab mailing list, right? So DataLab@unza.zm, Halwiindi's group, group C2K2, and other postgraduate students. So it would be nice. So Halwiindi will send mail to you on the DataLab group, and then you have his contact details, and then you can connect them with Bumba. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. Are there any random questions, complaints? I don't know if people are saying, why did you subject us to 2 hours data bundles and one? I do apologize. If I had money, I was probably going to say I will buy bundles, but alas, I don't. Hopefully this was beneficial, right? I just wanted to say thank you to the external visitor who is here, Zola. I know, I mean, time is it's a premium for you seeing as you're wrapping up your PhD, but thank you for joining us. Thanks a lot to the presenters. Hopefully you've learned a lot. Hopefully there are some aspects of what has been discussed that has tickled your fancy, and you can perhaps later reach out to whoever is conducting that research. A lot of interesting stuff going on. And I know, I mean, we're at a time in the world when a lot of interesting things are going on, but I still think that most of the students are really working on interesting and important problems, at least as far as Zambia is concerned. Right. So sorry that Robert was unable to attend. I hope he's well, but we've seen it happen even like in oral exams, right? People get sick or they're unable to attend. It's quite sad, really. But also in closing, 2 things. So someone just posted something in the chat. Jackson is an undergraduate student together with, I think, Wes is in the house, and they're the ones that generated the data set that Angela is actually using. So Angela, it's not the 4th years that generated the data set, the transcribed data. It's a group of first year for now 2nd years and 3rd year students that we were working over the vacation, right? So thanks for coming, Jackson and Wes. And then just to let you know that this session is recorded, I will try and see if I can crudely edit it, and then I will share the links in the event that you want to play back some aspects of the presentation. Thank you so much, and right, take care. Hope we can meet on campus very, very soon. I don't know, but okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Zola, I'll
I'll
send you a link to our interaction just after. Thanks. Right. Bye.
Okay.